Welcome to Eastern Newsbeat. Tricia Ziemer reporting. I've travelled to Brisbane, to QPAC, to the Queensland Performing Arts Centre to view two back-to-back operas, The Human Voice and The Call. These were performed by three extraordinary women, Zoe Zeniodi, who is a Greek maestro, and two Victorian lasses, Ellie McGregor and Alexandra Flood. This was Zoe's debut performance here in Australia, and she received a rare QPAC standing ovation on the opening night. Patrick Nolan, CEO of QPAC, was directing. I've been to Brisbane to the Greek Club, and I've had a chance to visit at an informal chat with Zoe and Patrick. Join me.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this little chat that we're having this afternoon with Zoe Zeniodi and Patrick, who is CEO of Opera Queensland. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about the delightful event that we're going to witness.
So we're presenting a double bill, and the first opera in the double bill is a piece called The Human Voice. And it's by a composer called Francois Poulenc, French composer, 20th century. The opera was written in 1958, and he is one of France's preeminent contemporary composers. It's based on a play by Jean Cocteau, and it is about a conversation that a woman is having on the phone with her lover. She has been his mistress for 5 years, and 3 days earlier she has learned that he is going to marry the other woman in his life. And so over the course of the opera, we hear her really come to terms with what that means, to what that has done to her life. She has for the last 5 years given her life to this man, and her meaning has really been defined by that relationship. And when she realizes that relationship is coming to an end, everything begins to unravel for her. And the conversation is about how she tries to keep the relationship going in many respects.
But it's a conversation that we
only have access to
one voice.
One voice. So we never hear what is being said at the other end of the phone. And to that end, it's quite in its time it was considered quite radical, and it is still quite radical, because it's quite a challenge to construct this dialogue through just the voice of one woman. So everything that she says, she is saying in response to something that is happening at the other end of the phone, but we don't know what that is. But you piece together, over the course of the story, you piece together their life. But the interesting thing is that she tells a lot of lies as a way of trying to give him the illusion that she's okay, that she is not as destroyed as she actually is. And slowly, though, that is revealed. She reveals that to him. It's a tragedy.
And it's, as far as I'm aware, it's sung in French.
Sung in French.
Yeah.
With English and subtitles are projected into the space itself. And we have chosen to sort of give it a contemporary slant, in that the phone, when it was written, it would have been a court phone, like a traditional phone, and phone calls were made through the exchange. So there's a number of sort of interruptions in the course of the story where the operator cuts in, or the phone line doesn't get through, and we actually have cut some of those, and we've made it a mobile phone, and so some of the interruptions, it's like one of those. people that call you and tell you that your Amazon subscription is about to expire if you don't give us your phone. That's what we're sort of pretending, and that's where her frustration is coming from. And that gives us more freedom in terms of the actual physicality of the performance itself. So she can move around with the phone and put it on, assumedly like a speakerphone.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of us are old enough to remember operators.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's one aspect of the performance, but there are two.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then, so the second half is a brand new Australian opera, so it's its world premiere, written by a young Queensland composer called Connor Donetto, who went to the University of Queensland and has really started to emerge as a really dynamic, exciting young Australian composer. He had his work performed by the Sydney Symphony Orchestra last year. And the reason why we chose to do it as a double bill, that is also about a phone call, and this time it's a phone call. It's a story about a woman who is kind of at the lowest of the low. She has been in a relationship and she's fallen into a drug habit, and she has a child, and she's kind of she's at that point in her life where she's thinking about ending it all. And she remembers that her mother has given her a phone number for a counsellor, and has said, if you ever get to a point where you don't think you can carry on, perhaps you could ring this number. And she does. And she, over the course of the night, she has a conversation with this man who basically talks her back into hope and belief, and talks her off the edge. And at the end of the conversation, she says to him, I understand that this is a Christian counselling service. I would like to you've changed my life. I would like to respond. I would like to, donate some money or give something back to you in some way. And he says, listen, I've been trying to find the way to tell you this, but you rang the wrong number.
It's such a brilliant
It's a true story.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
And so it's very much about how if we listen to each other carefully and if we give each other the space to actually tell our stories, then we can change lives. And it seemed like a really lovely companion piece to an opera which is about a woman who sort of, I guess, is either not being listened to carefully, or is not listening to herself carefully, with a story which has much more hope and redemption in it.
The human voice was sensational. The costumes and set and the lighting especially were just ravishing.
Beautifully portrayed. It's a story this time that we could all relate to. Broken relationships.
A muse on love and what it means to be connected to one another. So beautiful and so enthralling.
So nice to see two contrasting colours of a soprano voice as well across the two bills.
I was actually quite surprised. It was very modern, and I think young viewers new to opera would really enjoy it.
The digital work, the staging was unique and extraordinary.
I describe the show as being ethereal,
Very modern,
captivating,
Powerful.
Fast-paced, lush.
astonishing,
Dramatic. Human.